Welcome back. You're watching Politics Today with me here, Sheon Okinbaloye. Today, Anambra governorship election is just few months away. Already, there are clamor for a power shift. APGA may not be in the best of times at the moment, while the PDP also in the state are not really enjoying a good one too. Let's take a look at this report, and when we come back, we discuss with our guests with the situation as Anambra election is just few months away.
It was a hive of activity at Nsugbe, Anambra East local government area. The event is part of the build-up to the forthcoming governorship election, and various aspirants are declaring their intentions to take over the mantle of leadership from Governor Peter Obi in March 2014. Anambra North Senatorial Zone is stepping forward, and the state governor isn't hiding his desire to see his successor. Speaking in the Igbo language, Governor Obi advised the people of Anambra North to brace up to the challenge, even as he assumes the position of a referee to ensure equity and fair play in the exercise.
It's not negotiable. We're talking about Anambra North, and on Anambra North we still stand. And as a legislator, I can buttress it. That is even a constitutional matter, section 14.4, fairness, equity, and just. Since the history
is more like something that was imported into our country. Although we have our culture, which is a little bit where you have traditional rulers with the subjects, which is a little bit similar to democracy. My own position is that the issue of zoning should not come into play. Considering the way democracy is practiced in the Western world, like America, where today we have a black president in the name of Barack Obama, who is from Kenya. Where can you say that he is coming from in America if we are considering them? I think the best bet is for people to look for the best. They're the best candidate to rule the people. But I can see what their problems are. It has to do with the fact that whoever that has ruled in the past may have favored their own senatorial zone. Take, for instance, Ngige, who was the third civilian governor of Anambra State, whom Obi took over from. The only job he did was tarring the roads in Idemili North and South, which is 50% of his senatorial zone. So I think that is the reason why people are asking for shifting of power. So I disagree with that request, because what we should be asking for in this year and time is for the best candidate who can do the job.
I mean, at some point, again, you want to look at, when you're practicing democracy, you want to look at what we bring peace into the society. Do you think if the governorship seat in Anambra State is zoned, do you think it will bring peace in the state?
Zoning will never bring peace in any environment.
Even in Anambra situation?
Even in Anambra State. What is the history of, if you want to talk about zoning, it's always important that all the rallying parties sit down, discuss about it some years before the issue of zoning comes up. My position, our governor, who has done well, people has a right to their own views, but it is left for the people to decide.
But Governor Obi, you're talking about, in fact, support zoning in the state.
Well,
do you think that those people who are asking for zoning in Anambra State are asking for the wrong thing?
Well, they're entitled to their opinion.
But do you think you are from Anambra State?
They may be right in their own perspective. But as far as I'm concerned, I believe in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And if we want peace and tranquility and development in Anambra State to continue from where Obi has done, I would prefer that let the institutional framework given to us by the Constitution, let it be practiced 100%.
Okay, I mean, a lot of people, like we saw in that particular report, came out and say, zone, 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 that is what they want. Do you think that was organized, or that is not really the yearnings of the people of Anambra State?
All the people that we saw in that occasion yearning for zoning are all from Anambra North. None of them is from Anambra South or Central, the two other senatorial zones. And they are, I bet you, within that Anambra North, some key politicians there don't believe in zoning.
But don't you think it is right for them to be aggrieved if they look like they're part of the state and it looks like they've been sidelined?
Let me going down the memory lane. One of them there, one of the ex-senators, mentioned that the first president of Nigeria came from Anambra North in the name of late Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe. The second Senate president, or the third Igbo Senate president, came from the same zone in the name of late Dr. Shuba Kadibo. So these are all, even the first, after the war after the Nigerian Civil War in early 70s, the administrator of the then Eastern State, which then was comprises of the entire Igbo-speaking areas, Anambra, Imo, Ebonyi State, Enugu State. And then all of them, the first administrator, late Okpabiasika, also came from the Anambra North. So I can tell you that Anambra North has never been cheated.
Okay,
yes.
From that point, let's look at the fact that generally in Anambra State, little is happening as regards the election. We're not hearing much, and looking at the fact that the election are just at the tail end of the year, but little things are happening in that regard. What is happening? Mom, is the situation there?
Well, what I think that is happening is, if you look at Anambra State today, the two major parties, APUGA and PDP, they have crisis, internal crisis within the two parties. And the people, from my own grassroots view, the people they are clamoring for the best candidate. So I think the old contestants, everybody is taking their time. So first of all, let the internal crisis, rumblings within the parties, let it be cleared off before they come out.
How badly do you think the bickering and the fight and the internal crisis within the PDP and APGA in Anambra State will affect the politics and eventually the election in later in the year?
Well, one thing I can tell you, Anambra people is a state where you have the best in everything. Let me use that word. You know, I believe they are taking their time to sort out this crisis. I believe within the next, before the end of this month, all the crises will be sorted out.
We hear of a
and
faction.
I think one of the things that is also making the political activities very low has to do with INEC, which has up to today have not released the election timetable.
But we of course know that it's statutory in the Constitution, the months and the weeks that the election must take place before the expiration of the tenure of the incumbent.
Yes, that is true, but you can't start campaigning without telling you when to start and when to stop.
You're right there. But,
yes.
but let me ask you, APGA, especially in Anambra State, we know that the faction of that particular party is wanting to merge with the APC. Why do you think the faction in Anambra State especially is not tilted? Or are there some other people who want to join the APC, the merger in APGA in Anambra State?
I don't think so, because coming to think of faction of APGA joining APC, You are talking about Rocha's governor, His Excellency Governor Rocha's Okorocha of Imo State, who joined APUGA only 2 years ago. And today he has moved to APC. I don't think it has a lot to do with APUGA as a body. Because you can imagine becoming a tenant in a house, within 2 years you move out again. The importance won't be, the effect won't be felt. So as of today, I can tell you that APUGA is still intact.
Really?
Yes.
Even as we have, there's still a lot of contention with Mr. Maxi Oku, who is somewhat the de jure national chairman, and we have somewhat the de facto national chairman in the person of Chief Victor Ume.
Well, that is an internal crisis, which considering the...
Of course, and you know that if some of these crises are not resolved, it's going to affect the elections.
Definitely, but considering the wisdom of our able governor, His Excellency Governor Peter Obi, CON, and our national chairman, Victor Ume, both of them are strong Christians. You know, I believe that before this month runs out, they will see reasons why they will settle the internal crisis and come together. Right. Already, I'm aware that they are holding nocturnal meetings on a daily basis to see that that crisis.
There is one party that seems to be at peace in that particular state, the ACN. Don't you think the crisis within the PDP and APGA will just give ACN an easy route at the polls?
Well, we can talk of only two major parties that are in every local government in Anambra State today, which is PDP and APUGA. ACN is a party that is synonymous with one person, Senator Ngige, Chris Ngige. I mean, you know, the party is synonymous with him. And as you know, gradually, his so-called achievement as a governor winds down on a daily basis. You know, considering the good work which has been done by the current governor.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Mr. John Nwosu, for talking to us on some of these issues that's coming from Anambra State. We are hoping and we'll be looking as the election comes, and hopefully some of the issues and crises will be resolved. We've been talking with Mr. John Nwosu on the situation in Anambra State as silence seems to have enveloped the preparation for governorship election in that particular state. It's expected that the election in Anambra State should hold before the end of the year.